Spurs up, Carolina fans. This is Phil Harris again here at the Ruckin Roosters Show. We are doing a series on the origins of Sea Pappy. He's over beside me here, the original Sea Pappy, of course. And in this interview, we've got an old boy, Lyle Richards, with us. Lyle, how the heck are you?
Doing good, sir. How are you?
Not too bad. Tell us where you're from.
I live in Charlotte, North Carolina now.
Very nice, very nice. From about 30 miles west there in Kings Mountain, North Carolina. That's where I was born and raised.
Okay.
What is
Good
your
country?
Yeah, yes, sir, of course. What is your origin story with rugby, and how did you find rugby?
I found rugby right out of high school in Texas. My best friend's brother was playing at the University of North Texas, now North Texas State.
Mm-hmm.
And so right out of high school, I started playing with the college team, went to college there for a couple of years. And then played with the men's club there in Denton. Mm-hmm. And then got a job in South Carolina for the county corner at a horse farm out in Gadsden, South Carolina.
Okay. Wow.
Worked there for several years and went back to school at University of South Carolina. And one night while I was walking up a stairwell, I saw a sign for rugby practice.
Yeah.
And went to the rugby practice, and the rest is history as far as my South Carolina career.
Gotcha. All right. What position did you play?
Start out fullback, went to fly half, and then as nutrition became a problem with not being able to stay away from it, became a prop. So
yeah, we all have those stories of starting out at a different position and maybe ending up at prop by the time you're a senior due to nutrition. Yeah.
Yeah.
What was your major, and what have you been up to since graduating from Carolina?
Major was undecided. Did not graduate from Carolina. I gave it a good college try, but ended up having to go to work so I could pay my bills. So,
mm-hmm. What have you been doing since leaving Carolina in terms of profession?
Profession, I work for a construction supply company.
Okay.
We sell exterior building products and stuff. Majority of the time, worked there for 17 years. The other half of the time, I've been a stay-at-home dad.
Okay, very nice. So what is Sea Pappy, and what is his origin story to the best of your recollection?
Well, to the best of my recollection, there were 3 rugby players: Mike Flynn, I believe Chris Murphy, and one other gentleman who I don't recall the name, were on a walkabout one night. And Sea Pappy was caged in a fenced-in area.
Okay.
And Mike did not like the way he was eyeballing him and decided he should free him. So Sea Pappy became a free man that night.
Was there any adult beverages involved in this by chance?
I'm not going to accuse anybody of that, but I'm sure that may have been a reason for the attraction to Sea Pappy. Sea Pappy used to be dressed up as the Morton Salt Man. He had a nice yellow raincoat and a hat. And for fear of being discovered, he quickly got painted with the USC rugby jersey. He attended many parties and all the games, became our instant mascot. We used him for weightlifting drills and all sorts of stuff.
That's awesome.
He has his own website, webpage on Facebook. It's more of an adult version. I wouldn't recommend kids going and viewing it.
Yeah, definitely not a PG-13 area on that page.
That's true. That is true. But he stayed with the team. He's gone through, 3 or 4 different, or 2 decades before he fell upon hard times.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had to send him to rehab. And as you saw, he was resurrected this past weekend.
Yeah, it's great to see him back and as the official mascot of Carolina Rugby. Do you have any fun stories with Sea Pappy that you can share that are not X-rated, I guess is the best way to put that?
Well, he's broken a few ankles in his time.
Okay.
He used to hang out in the corner, and we'd tell people not to mess with him, but sometimes they'd go try to have a conversation, and he had too much to drink, and a couple times he fell on a couple ankles, and we've had to take people to the hospital because of their inability to listen to the finer instructions. So
So Sea Pappy has definitely seen some stuff in his time, being in
Yes.
the corners of rooms. Yeah.
Yes, he has.
What were your impressions? You were mentioning the Carolina Rugby Alumni Weekend. What were your impressions of that event? And also, what were your thoughts on the return of Sea Pappy?
Oh, I really loved the event. It was well put together. Everybody seemed to be, the one thing about it that sometimes was missing in the past is we actually spent a lot of time with the current players. Where in the past, it was more, the alumni would hang around each other and the current students would go about their own way, but there was an effort to make it to where they got to know us and we got to know them. So that was very important.
Yes.
And as far as the unveiling, I mean, they grabbed on him right away. They decided, hey, let's see if we can lift this guy up.
Mm-hmm.
So some did, some didn't.
Yeah. I think a lot of forwards were able to pick it up and backs not so much, which pretty typical.
But he made it out to the game next day, so it sounds like he's off and running with the new team.
Yep, that's perfect. That's exactly what we wanted, of course, is for them to embrace Sea Pappy and keep them a part of the tradition going forward for Carolina Rugby. Do you have any memorable moments in a Carolina jersey that you can recall?
Most of back when we played, it wasn't necessarily about the game. It was more about winning the social event afterwards. We were a motley crew of guys. We weren't necessarily, our skills weren't necessarily great. We had a great time together. As far as rugby for me, it's about the friendships we made, and the fact that everybody I played with, I'm still friends with. So
yes. Yeah.
That's the big part about it, and the fact that you can go anywhere in the world and you can find a rugby club to go hang out with. So exactly. That's my takeaway: the family aspect of the game.
For sure. I always tell people the squad that I played with at Carolina was small but scrappy. We weren't the most competitive bunch, but we would always try to rough people up in a game. We were not afraid.
Yeah. Yeah, we've made the mistake of I remember one year we did a sevens match in Wilmington. And the person that signed us up for two different divisions, the Masters division and then the Open division. Mm-hmm. And in the Open division, we were playing teams that were trying to qualify to go to nationals. So we got beat up pretty quick on those games, but we were able to put it together and take home some hardware at least 2 years in a row doing the Masters division. So that was fun for us.
Always nice to have silverware in the cabinet there. All right. I know that you've discussed, some old teammates that you still have bonds with and that sort of thing. Talk about those bonds that you have with those guys to this day. And I know that you've kept up with some of those older teammates as well.
Yeah. Well, two best friends, John Roberts and Roger LaCroix. John is the current coach of the team. John and Roger were both at my wedding. Our kids, we had kids at different times, but they know each other and they've hung out a little bit. And it's basically, sort of a family type deal with those guys. And the rest of the guys, we have a text thread that we've had going since it's got to be 10 years old. So
Jay mentioned that text thread in a previous interview. Jay,
that thread does not allow us to run for public office. So.
That's basically what he said. So it's awesome. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, what advice do you have for current players on the team? Any advice for those guys?
Well, just enjoy it while you're there. It's all, now that you look back on it, it goes by quick. So enjoy the time you're there, and the friends you're going to make there are friends you're probably going to have the majority of your life, depending on where you transition in life. But as long as you true to rugby, rugby will give back to you. So
absolutely, couldn't agree more on that. If there's a recruit out there watching that is considering Carolina rugby, what would you say to them about coming to Carolina and playing rugby at Carolina?
Well, besides the school itself, which could sell itself, I mean, the team is under good leadership. Their goals are to be successful. It's that it is competitive. You're going to have to work to get your spot, but if you want to learn and grow from the sport, that'd be a good place to be.
Absolutely. So we'll do one word association before we get you out of here, Lyle. I'll say a word or two. The first thing that pops in your mind, let me know what you're thinking, okay?
Okay.
Tradition.
Tradition. First word. See, I'm not good at these things. So,
How about important? That's the first thing that I think of.
well, tradition. Let's go with the Masters.
Okay. Rugby.
Rugby. Fellowship.
The horseshoe.
The horseshoe. Fire extinguisher fight.
Okay. We'll have to say that one for a different show.
Yeah.
Carolina.
Carolina, home.
Gamecocks.
Forever.
Absolutely. I agree. Forever to thee. Lyle, this has been awesome. I appreciate your time very much. Thank you, sir. And Spurs up. Go Gamecocks.
Spurs up to you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.